Hey everybody, this is Mr. Harris, and I'm here to show you a quick video about how to do Lesson 2.5, our simple meter lesson in Breezin through theory, as well as a couple of the counting mad dash drills that we'll work on. If you haven't had a chance yet to watch Mr. Gluck's video, go back and check out the first 3 lessons from this chapter, because lessons 1, 2, and 3 really help build to help us understand simple time signatures.
Found on the left side of the music staff, the time signature indicates how many beats there are in each measure and what kind of note value gets the beat. In 4/4 time, there are 4 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat.
Remember that when we're talking about meter, we're organizing beats and not rhythms. Beats are the steady pulse of music, while rhythm is long and short notes and sounds. Common time, remember, is the same thing as 4/4 time, which means we have 4 equal beats in a measure. Let's hear what 2/4 time might sound like.
In 2/4 time, there are 2 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat.
Notice that 2/4 time sounds a lot like 4/4 time. The reason it's called march time is because traditionally marching band music will be written in 2/4. The reason being you have 2 feet. So a quick way to know the difference between common time, which is 4/4, and 2/4 is to count up the number of beats. If you have enough beats for your feet, you're in 2/4 time or march time.
In 3/4 time, there are 3 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat.
Waltz time or 3/4 time sounds very different from 4/4 or 2/4 time. Waltz time is actually named after an old dance style called the waltz, where you would have 3 moves in the dance. So if you want to think about a 3-move dance, that might help you organize the waltz time. Let's look at some of the mad dash drills that go along with these lessons. If we scroll down to mad dash lesson 2.1c, we're going to be working on counting some rhythms and rests in 2/4 time. If you are successful in your 4/4 time counting, this will be exactly the same, but instead of counting up to 4 in each measure, we're only going to count to 2. The reason we're going to count to 2 is because the time signature has a 2 in the top. Remember, we're always going to start with 1 at the beginning of every measure. Since we have a pair of eighth notes here, the second eighth note is going to be an and. We're going to notice that that pattern continues even in places where there are rests. Now, since we have a quarter note, the quarter note is going to get an entire beat, and in this case, it's going to get beat 2. Notice how we've moved to the next measure. Don't forget to start with 1. Since this was an eighth note, the next symbol we're going to have is going to be an and, even though this is a rest. Remember, rests make silence. We're going to have a 2 to end that measure. The next measure looks a lot like the first measure. We have a number and then an and, since we have a pair of eighth notes, and then we end with a 2. Now, the next measure can be a little bit tricky. Even though this is a half rest, and we know it's a half rest because it looks like a hat resting on the top of the line, it still makes something. Even though it doesn't make sound like a half note, it makes silence. So therefore, we're going to have to give it 2 beats. Now remember, when you get to the end, you're going to want to click the done with the green thumbs up. And if you don't like your score, you can always go back and review the answers or even redo the drill. Let's look at another example here, our mad dash drill 2.1d. Now, mad dash drill 2.1d is going to be very similar to the one that we just completed, except this time we're going to be counting rhythms and rests in 3/4. The process is still the same. Each measure is going to start with a 1. In the case of this measure, we have a half note that gobbles up 2 beats. So we're going to give it beats 1 and 2. Now, even though this is a rest, we still have to give it a count. And since it's a quarter rest, it gets 1 count. Now, notice we went up to 3 in this measure. The reason we counted to 3, was because our time signature was 3, 4. Let's do the next measure together. We always start with a 1. Since this is a pair of eighth notes, the second eighth note is going to get the and. This is a quarter note. Quarter notes get 1 beat, and since they get 1 beat, we're going to give them 1 number. Don't forget about our quarter rest also getting a beat. The next measure looks exactly the same as the one that we just completed. All right, we have one more drill to look at together as a class. We're going to look at Mad Dash Drill 2-4A. Down here, we're dealing with different kinds of time signatures. The trick to this exercise is to simply count up the number of beats in each measure and then drag your time signature to that space. We'll start in the upper right-hand corner. We have 1 and, since it's an eighth note, 2, 3 and. The highest number we counted to was 3, so therefore we'll have a 3-4 time signature. Let's do one more together. Over here, we have a half note, which is 1, 2, and then a quarter note, which is 3. Once again, we have 3 beats. Let's keep going and finish up the last 2 together. Count these eighth notes together. We have a 1 and. Even though it's beamed together, we're going to change to beat 2 and to show us that we have a 2-4 time signature. The last example down here has 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. I hope these videos were helpful and hope this video was helpful in getting you through the lessons and the Mad Dash drills you've been assigned. If you have